What tips do you have for people that are looking to buy a franchise? Or what would you say if somebody that was close to you is like, hey, I'm looking at this franchise. What advice would you give to them on what to look for, what's a red flag, what's a go, all that kind of stuff?
That's a great question. Want me to go, Jen?
Yeah.
So I think there's several things. I'd say probably one of the most important, as Jen, as I've touched on several times, is hearing from owners. If I'm looking at franchises, I want to hear owners that speak highly of the founders, of the training, that they themselves are successful, that they're profitable. So I think that's really a critical piece of the due diligence process is hearing from, and it doesn't need to be a lot of owners, but you've got to hear from a couple owners and hear, and if you don't, you've got to understand I've got to be 100% a pioneer. And there are people that are willing to do that, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Like our first few.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and
you've got to have those first few, but they've got to understand if they are going to be one of the first, that they've got to have a little bit more of a pioneering. I'm gonna have to figure a lot of this out on my own, because I am going to be a pioneer for the franchise, and there are those people out there that are okay with that, and that's fine. But I think they need to understand that if that's going to be the case. So I'd say that's a big one. Understanding, do you like what your day-to-day is going to look like in the franchise? In our case, it's not hanging gutters. It's working on and growing a business, developing leaders. Do you like that? If you rather be on a ladder, then this probably isn't right for you. If you want to be hands-on in the business, then there are those franchises out there. I've worked for those kind of franchises, and that there's a place for people that want to be more hands-on. But if you want to be in a franchise that works on the business, not in it, then and I think that's where some validation comes in, is making sure that that's a reality. Because some franchises, it's not. Some franchises, the franchisees are the ones doing the technical work of the business.
So they're buying the job.
They're buying a job, exactly. Yep.
It's their job.
Yeah.
And they own it.
Right.
And they can have some of the freedom that they've wanted, but it's different than what we're offering.
Sure. Yep. So those are a couple things that come to mind. Jen, anything?
I think the founders, knowing who you're getting into business with, right? This is going to be hopefully a 10, 20, 30, 40 plus year relationship. And you want to make sure you like the people you're going to work with. Now, you're not going to agree all the time, but the franchisor relationship is very codependent. Your success is their success and vice versa. So you really want to make sure that you find somebody who's a good fit for you, because if you don't, it's going to be painful. If you don't like who's running the company, which is why, yeah, it's your fault.
Jen.
Just kidding. That's right. But it's so important when you guys do those leadership calls, a lot of the candidates, they'll talk about you two and how fun you are and your energy, and then I'll describe who you're looking for culture wise. I'm like, you don't have to be just as high as the sky like Ryan, but you don't want to be as laid back as Ken. I go, what they really want is somewhere right in the middle.
Like the middle brother.
Yeah.
The middle brother.
Yeah. See that little head we can put in?
Yeah, we can put their head right in the middle.
Yeah. But I would say that's the most important. You want to just be excited, and you got to be excited about it. Mm-hmm. You can be excited about making money or the model, but hopefully it's both.
Yeah. Because the crazy thing is, I think most people think restaurant, maybe a Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's, and they can't really get as far as food when they're thinking about franchising. But it's also probably so crazy for somebody who wants to own a business to present, well, I got this gutter business. I feel like most people think that they have to be interested or at least good, or if they're doing a fitness thing, that they're all into fitness, right? How do you guys get people, or is that how people start out their journey and then they find themselves somewhere completely different?
I think that's pretty common, that people feel that thought process, that people feel like they need to be passionate about what the business does, the actual business. And I think maybe in some industries, maybe that is the case. But I think, even amongst our owners that are super passionate about the brothers that just do gutters, they're not necessarily passionate about ring gutters. They're passionate about building a business and developing leaders. They're passionate about creating opportunities for great employees and building a large business that can set them up, like Jeremiah, to take 3 months off and go tour the world, tour the country with his family in a Brothers That Just Do Gutters RV, which is fantastic, by the way.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Or like Jonathan Mellett, who, he was doing this business as a side business to accommodate his ministry, right? And then he realized one day, he's like, Brothers Gutters is my ministry. I'm making a difference in the people's lives that I'm hiring, the clients that we're bringing our products and services to. And, So I think this vehicle can be whatever somebody wants it to be for them. You know, they're making a difference, they're having fun, and they're making money. So I think it encompasses all the things that, you know, that somebody would want to get out of this.
Well, it's true. And most people go towards like food because they like to go out to eat. So they're like, oh, I like to go out to eat. I could own a restaurant. I could do this. What they start to realize, and where we're seeing a lot of the trends go, is it used to be that having these companies with 100 employees was really cool, right? Now people are looking for something a little bit more simplistic right out of the gate. They aren't looking for the thing where they have to go hire 20 people because they know how the market is right now. So you get in that little window of, okay, you're going to start with, 3 to 4 people. They love that because it's not intimidating to grow from that number, but it's intimidating if you've got to go hire 20 people right out of the gate.
That's spot on. Pretty much every time I talk to a current business owner that's looking for a new franchise, that's one of the number one things they're looking at is what's the minimal staff I need for this, because I'm sick of having 100, 50, 80 employees.
Yeah. And you think we're at like a sweet spot for, like, everyone wants $1 million business. For them to get to the $1 million mark, you guys like the amount of employees that takes?
Absolutely. And the timeline and how you coach them to get there, and that you have franchisees saying, well, when they ask someone, hey, Nathan, and they say, Nathan, how did you get there? How did you get to $1 million? Well, I just did exactly what they said. And they told me to buy another truck. And I was like, it felt a little uncomfortable, but I did it. And now look at me. And it validates too. So it's incredible.
That's awesome.